All right, gang, 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 let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, gang, gang, gang. At this morning. And we are back again with another epic episode of the LNR podcast. My name is SK, aka Uncle SK.
Okay.
So we are back with another one. We are debriefing. We're talking about not Indaba Zabantu. Are we talking about Indaba Zabantu?
No, we're just debriefing, bro.
Yeah. Ukuthi angithandi indaba zabantu. I don't want us to gossip. Nah, not really. As much as the views, because the views, when we talk about other people's stuff.
I mean, it's trending topics, so
yeah. It's bound to
probably
get more
people want to hear. What do we
eyeballs.
have to say? And then what do we?
Yeah.
What do we think? Yeah.
Penny Ntuli. That's vele skibela phezukwayo. Penny Ntuli uyakhala man, uyakhala umntana abantu uthi bamroba lapha eGagasi. Gagasi FM is not paying umntana abantu enough. What's your take?
Are they not paying her? Okay. So are they not paying her enough, or is it not enough for her? I think, Mina, I'm two-sided,
Sure.
right? And I think in this episode, I'll choose to be the devil's advocate. I think sometimes, number one, right? I feel like when you're looking for a job,
Sure.
you should already, like the way that you start and the salary that you start with.
Yeah.
By the way, nami ngengaba nama scandal when it comes to jobs and negotiations and whatnot,
Sure.
right? And it also led to me leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but
you understand where
yeah,
she's coming
kind
from.
of, yes, I
Kind
do.
of.
I do really understand, but also I think it's important. Mafuna umsebenzi ukuthi, on what basis are you negotiating?
Sure.
Number one, right? And have you from the beginning been truthful to yourself in
Sure.
terms of how much you are worth?
Yeah.
At that time, and looking also at your growth, because you can only top up from what you are already getting paid, if that makes sense. You can only negotiate from
according
what
to-
you
yeah.
are already being paid once you are in a company, right?
Sure.
So if I come from company A, I'm joining company B, I come with my pay slip from company A.
Sure.
But I also come with my accomplishments from company A. And I say, okay, Mina, in company A, this is how much I was getting paid. And since you were employed
Yeah.
by company
Yeah.
A,
Yes.
this is what I have achieved. These are my KPIs. This is how far I've gone. And so, yes, I'm getting paid this much, but as I join this company, what is my role and what is the difference that I think I'm going to make here?
Sure.
And I think that this is how much I would take another job for.
Yeah.
Because 2 years down the line, the negotiation will start from what I
to
negotiated
what
when
you
I
did.
initially got there, right?
100%.
So I can't now come after 2 years and I'm surprised. Uguti, okay, this is my rate now, right? And fair enough, I think people grow in a company. Of course, if you've spent 2 years there, you have accomplishments that you have to show. Okay, but in the last 2 years, say for instance, in her case, this is what I have achieved. These are the numbers that I've brought in. These are the clients that I've brought in, and these clients have brought in this much money. So if I'm going to be with the company for longer, this is what I think I'm going to bring in
So it's
going
the
forward.
value that you bring.
So the value that I bring, then I negotiate based on that. And then if the company sees the value, they are able to say, you have proven yourself. For the past 2 years, we have seen what you've brought in. So there is a point of negotiation. Do you understand? So as opposed to me just coming and saying, ngifuna imali engaka. Yeah. So I think for me, that's my take. Ukuthi yaqala kanjani from the beginning.
Sure.
How much were you getting paid? And what are you negotiating based on? Yeah. What's your take?
So for me, I think number one, Gagasi FM is a big station.
A big station where? Sorry.
It's a big station. Nationwide. Oh, it's not the biggest, but it's a big station. It's not a local station. Okay, we're still trying to get our feet or whatever. As you are saying, based on the value that she brings, maybe we must look at that as well. Because at first, most of us would take any job just to get exposure to whatever. Maybe she was like, okay, I'll take the maybe 2,500. Let's assume that maybe that's what she was getting at first, because now they raised to 2,800, but she declined.
But it's over 2 years. But
but 2 years has been, I think even domestic workers don't get that low of money because domestic workers, like the minimum is 3,500, I believe.
Okay. But then also let's look at how many hours are you working? How many days are you working?
Okay.
You understand? Because when we speak about domestic workers and we speak about the 3,500, let's say for instance that they're getting paid, right? Which I think a minimum wage has even gone up, right? According to the Department of Labor, I think it's around 4 now. If I'm not mistaken, you correct me if I'm wrong. It has gone up, but we're talking about monthly rates, right? When we speak of Penny in her situation, and I'm saying I'll be the devil's advocate in this one.
Sure.
She's getting paid. She works for 3 hours. She's saying the new proposed slot was on Sunday from 1 to 4.
To 4, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that means she works 4 times basically in a month. Yes. And she works 3 hours per slot. Right. So I don't think that qualifies as would qualify a minimum wage according to Department of Labor, because that is a monthly rate.
Okay, let's go back. Let's bring it back to Gagasi again. Okay. Someone posted, I think it was on Twitter, they said DJ Waras was getting 2,800 per hour. That's why I'm saying Gagasi FM is big enough to pay a fair amount. Okay, how about, let's say for instance, per hour, they gave Penny, based on her experience, gave Penny at least 1,000. Don't you think that would be fair?
Okay, but also remember when we speak of experience also, I don't know DJ Waras, so I don't know how big he is and whatnot, right? But for me, I feel like also the longevity of the person who's behind the mic, right? We cannot say DJ Fresh, for instance, would get paid, like Penny Ntuli would get paid the same as DJ Fresh. There's experience, lapo. And also I feel like there's also the numbers that maybe you bring in that maybe we should consider. We say she brought in numbers, but how sure are we about that? Because maybe for me, it's like, does it mean when your social media following grow, that you bring in more people to radio? No, I can follow you on TikTok and not listen to Gagasi FM. Do you understand what I mean? So, and for me also, there's something that she mentioned in the video, right? Where she was saying, Guti, the person who's in charge of them, I think would say Ayanda. I'm not sure of the surname. Yes, but she said this person suggested Guti maybe she should look at doing something else, maybe behind the scenes, maybe being a producer, maybe, and she's saying, Ugusi, that brought about a little bit of a self-doubt, like on her side, and she really loves radio, right? Everybody who knows her knows she loves radio. For me, it's then, if somebody else is, if you are bringing the numbers, really, would I be suggesting to you, Uguti, try something else? Do you understand what I mean? Like, for me, if somebody is bringing the numbers, if they bring in the results, if we can see, it's okay, numbers have skyrocketed because of you being here, then I feel like, for me, I can say, Uguti, SK, we can't pay you the amount that you want, say for instance, but I can't come say to you, consider something else. I can say, look at another radio station, do what you're doing, but maybe somewhere else they'll be able to afford you. Then me saying to you, maybe look at behind the scenes and go be a producer and whatnot. Meanwhile, the station has grown because of what you bring to the table. Do you understand? So to a certain extent, I feel like we can look at it and say, okay, maybe she was bringing in the numbers based on her popularity and her traction on social media, but we're not really sure what on air was she bringing in. Because Siamazu Penny Ntuli, but I for one have never listened to Gagasi FM because of Penny Ntuli. Do you understand what I mean? Have you?
No.
So it's not a direct reflection of what you're bringing in. It's just I think she's doing good.
Yeah.
And I feel like also Gagasi FM has opened up thank you, has opened up like opportunities for her. And yes, like people love her. She does TikTok videos, her thinking, her mind, you know,
Yeah.
we love that. And I think Gagasi FM maybe has played a role in her being popular and her being known.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's, we're not really sure about the numbers on air.
I can understand your point when it comes to, because it happens nowadays. It's more prominent. This thing you are big on TikTok, you are big on social media, but and then they take you. See, Bonile TikTokers going for roles in series.
Yes, definitely.
But the numbers would not really. Let's say you have a million followers on TikTok. It doesn't necessarily mean you will bring the whole million of your followers to watch whatever that you are doing. It's a fair point. I understand. But also, in the first place, I think they had okay, from la siya la mina now. I think maybe there was a miscommunication somewhere. Even though, let's say for instance, that was the start of the amount ebamnike okay, maybe 2,000 whatever. Then sizokhupulela with this percentage per year, for instance, maskhuphula ilona. Do you think uPenny was unfair for ngokushiya lapho?
No.
Yeah.
No, definitely. That's why I've been in the same predicament. And then I'm ngashiya.
Yeah.
Because I felt like the responsibility, also like for me, it was the responsibilities that have been placed on me.
Sure.
Versus how much you're willing to compensate me then, because now I had to fit into somebody else's role, which meant I have my responsibilities, then I have that person's responsibilities, and that person's responsibilities were much greater than my responsibilities already, right? So I don't think Uguti it's unfair, or maybe she was unreasonable
Ungrateful,
in
whatever.
leaving. And she did say, "Good guys, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I had, you know, but it didn't fit maybe her needs, or it didn't, like for her, you understand? And also I think another thing that we do a lot of the times is looking for basing our increments on our responsibilities. Do you understand? Like you say, no, because I'm a breadwinner now, or you say, with this money I won't be able to afford petrol, but you took the job. You took the job. And also another thing is your means of transportation is your preference. Do you understand what I mean? So it doesn't mean that with that money you can't get to work, but because when driving Mercedes, you understand? But if you're taking a taxi, you would get to work. You understand? You wouldn't, but it's your preference and your lifestyle. So I don't think, to your question, I don't think she was unreasonable in leaving. I think we all know, probably a New Year's, I'm worth more than this, and somebody else maybe I'd be earning more than this. And so it's on her to leave. But then do we now blame the radio station? Or is it your responsibilities and your preferences?
I blame the radio station. To be honest, I do blame the radio station, because it's a reflection of how employers take advantage of their employees. Not necessarily only on radio, but in the companies, there are people we're not getting enough. But we need lumsebenzi lona, and 1,000 is better than nothing, right? But that doesn't mean 1,000 is enough for the job that you are doing. It's the very same thing. Ama restaurants and the other companies, but exploited the people from outside, the foreigners, because they know they're desperate. So in our country, so anything that comes, but that doesn't mean that is fair. Even though I would say, sure, it's fine, let me take it while waiting for something else, or while hoping they will see my contribution and at least give me an increase of some sort. So I think, because as an issue, or as an issue earlier, Gagasi is a big station, man. Reference ya Waras. It's not necessarily the radio station doesn't have money. in my opinion. I don't know
Okay.
their financials, but if they can pay Uwaras 2,000, even though it has to do with what you bring, your pool of audience or whatever, but it's not a matter of there's no money in a good radio station. I don't think it's the reflection of that.
Let me just interject there, right? I feel like what you're explaining, I understand it, ne?
Sure.
But I also feel like it's the same as when you buy a car and then your family says, "I SK uthenga imoto unemali." No. It's you understand what I mean?
Fair enough,
you have
in a way,
like you have a budget
Sure.
that you have to distribute
yeah.
to your employees, let's
Yeah.
say for instance, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that budget maybe, let's say it's 5,000 rand,
Sure.
hypothetically speaking,
Yeah.
right? And now DJ Waras, let's
Yeah.
say, according to his experience, his whatever, he will
Yeah.
take a chunk of this money.
Yeah.
And the value that he brings in allows you to pay him that money.
Sure.
But you still have 5,000 rand. So it means if you pay him a chunk of that money, then the others you have to distribute this amount of money. So it doesn't necessarily mean that because they can afford ukupatala abanye imali eningi, then they don't have money they can afford, right?
Yeah.
And there's something that I saw here. I'm just gonna like go to it a bit, right? So it made me wonder, ukuthi, when we do negotiate our salaries, or when we do job hunts or whatever, do we look at the average salary that a presenter would get?
Yeah.
So it's the average radio DJ gross salary in South Africa is 383,066, or an equivalent hourly rate of 184. In addition, they earn an average bonus of 8,689.
Yeah.
So we don't know about the bonuses and the incentives and whatnot, the Gagasi FM, right?
Sure.
But when I look at that hourly rate, according to the average, she's getting paid more than that. Yeah, sure. Of course it is.
Yeah.
How can I put it? It's 2 years later and whatnot. She wouldn't be getting paid that much. But what if that was the starting point in terms of this is the average that umuntu who's in your position gets paid, and as we go, maybe this is how much you get paid. Or sometimes they don't even disclose, because a lot of the times my increments are based on how the company's performance and all of that, right? So it doesn't mean that if they increased by 20%, not that they ever do, but
nah, they don't.
but if they do,
Yeah, we
it
wish they
doesn't-
weren't kanjalo.
right?
Oh, 20.
Exactly. But it doesn't mean that the next year is going to be the same. Just know what I mean. So I understand where you're coming from, but I just wanted to be on the other side so that we balance the conversation out. But I think for me, the important thing is for you to negotiate from the beginning, because SK, like, I've been in a situation where I got to the company, and unfortunately it was that thing. I was coming from a graduate program. It was paying very good, actually, graduate program, And when I left that graduate program to go into corporate, they assumed that because I come from a graduate program, bengatholi imali eningi. So when they bayifuna i-pay slip, but they never disclosed to me that they never explained to me ukuthi this is cost to company, right? So when they gave me an offer, I'm looking at it, it wasn't specified ukuthi it's cost to company. When my pay slip came, I was shocked. Like, I went to HR, I'm like, what is going on here? Because from a graduate program, now I'm permanent in a different company, but my salary is almost the same. I think like 1,000 rand more than what I was getting paid in a graduate program.
Sure.
So that wasn't sufficient, but I've already signed my contract. I'm here already. And when you're in the company, then you realize, other people have the same problem. You would see this wasn't disclosed. So sonke masithola ama pay slip wethu, like, kanti what's going on here? You understand? Now, my increments are on every year, but they are so little that you can never bounce back to what I am worth, what I am supposed to earn, yes. And it's very, very painful. Sure. And then on top of that, remember now, like I was saying, for me, it was an added responsibility because somebody had left, so now I had to perform their duties and my duties. You must understand now, when you get a acting allowance, it's based on your salary. The formula includes your salary. So if your salary is low, the acting will also be very low.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
so you
it's
can
the same
never
as overtime.
You can never catch up.
Sure.
Like you can never catch up. So I think for me, the takeaway from this is, or what I'd maybe like to encourage is that when you start a new job, like it's so painful, because I think the problem of being underpaid and whatnot comes from a point of desperation. I think a friend of mine and I were having this conversation, Ongi, that it's so painful to look for anything from a point of desperation, because you take the crumbs that you are given. But if you have the freedom of, I'm comfortable in my job, I'm just looking for another job because I want to change of scenery, or I want more responsibilities, or I want to explore my capabilities. It's so much easier for you to negotiate when you are somewhere where you are happy, but you just want something more challenging, because you don't just take anything. You know, it's like with relationships. When you are looking from a desperation point of view, you take noma yini. Noma ngafika umbona ukuthi lo angimfuni lo ihlathi, but you take whatever is there because you are desperate.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, because that's the reality of South Africa.
Definitely.
A lot of people are unemployed.
Yeah.
And they're looking for whatever
it is that they can take.
If a radio station gig comes and you're getting 2005, you are hoping Guti maybe they'll increase. It's an unfortunate situation. Yes, in South Africa. That's why I need Lomdana Lobemam exploiter. That's even though we don't have all the numbers, but it's a reflection of how corporate Nama radio station are operating. An example, a friend of mine was working for a local radio station, right? He was getting more than Penny Ntuli was getting, working almost the same hours. Ngama weekend, almost the same hours. Maybe his were more, but yeah.
But then also, like, if we look at the more, how more and how much more was he getting paid? Because also, like, I think for him, we shared this before we started recording.
Sure.
But for him, he's working 2 days, right? And those 2 days, it's 3 hours.
Yes.
Around 3 hours, right? So essentially, he's working 8 days.
So it's twice
twice what she was. Yes. So if we then divide it by 2,
but also let's look at the magnitude of the
radio station.
Yes. Gagasi FM is big, man. It's not a local like.
But the thing is also, like, for me, like, when we speak about it's big, yes. But no, it's big, yes, right? But
fair, not.
Yeah, it's not big. I wanted to say, like, it's not like it's big locally, like in KZN. It's big, but it's not a lot of people who randomly esekunda saying Laleli Gagas. No, we listen to Metro, we listen to Radio 2000, we listen to Kaya, maybe.
And a lot of people no longer listen to e-radio.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not really like huge. It's just that we recognize it because of their marketing, because of the sponsorships that they have, because of the promotions that they do, the activations they do. So we recognize them. They have put effort in putting themselves out there.
Sure.
You know? So it's not that it's big. It's just that we've been exposed.
Sure.
We've been exposed to it. But I don't think there's a lot of people who say, I listen to Gagasi FM outside of KZN.
Yeah, it's
so it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, I would say that. And
our party abenzinto right, because I heard ukuthi the lomphathi ophethe manje vele ngathi uyagilana. Into nje ezizwakalayo. So apparently she's from, or she worked at Ukhozi before. So there were scandals about you remember this rivalry between Ukhuzani no Olaleni Maskandi?
Rivalry.
Yeah, rivalry. Between Ukhuzani no ubani omunye. I anwazi uMaskandi.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so uyazi lento yokuthi bayabeef ama artists womaskandi. So one was paid, one was not paid. So it's allegedly ukuthi kwenzeka lokho, and it was due to her leadership. She wasn't paying the other one. I don't know if maybe beka achemile or bekwenzakalan. So
what is uchema?
Favor the other over the other.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
basis of negotiation though. Like
but if kuthiwa sivumelene,
did they agree?
Yes.
Okay.
So was some sort of an agreement. So my point is, ngathi kunezinto ezimlandelayo umphathi lo. So umphathi akakhokhela abantu kahle, so that because manje thina se kunomuntu ongayazi Gagasi owazi uPenny, and esekazi Gagasi ngendlela embi ukuthi barobha ingane.
Mara, is it sithi umphathi wama presenter abakhokhele? She might not be the one that's negotiating. She might not be the one that's paying salaries. She might not be the HR. She might not be. If that's like you. That's like me saying my marketing manager must pay me. No, there's HR.
She's in marketing.
But what I'm saying, what I'm not saying that. I'm just making an example. It's like saying else. My marketing manager must pay me when she's not responsible for the negotiation. She's not HR. Like she's not. Yeah, understand. So yes, maybe she might have scandals and whatnot, and maybe fair enough, like Penny saying, would see her suggestion for her to go behind the scenes, and whatnot. Maybe she can do better in terms of that. Yeah, but I feel like in terms of salary negotiations, like there's not really much that.
And Penny, what I liked about Penny initially, she didn't want to disclose ukuthi uyahambe eGagasi.
Yes.
So the paper ndaba, what was that newspaper?
I have no idea which newspaper it is.
So apparently there was a newspaper evezele ukuthi uPenny ushile Gagasini, but they painted her as being ungrateful.
Yes. She did say in her video ukuthi they wrote it as though ngivele ngashiya, and I was like, I don't care and whatnot, but I really do appreciate the opportunity that I got from there. And I also feel like what I like about her is that she explored, man. Like in as much as she was on radio, she has MCing gigs now. She, so she diversified herself. So in as much as she's saying, I don't think like she doesn't have something else. I'm going to another radio station or whatnot. It's what she was saying. I'm not moving on to greener pastures, but I think that she has put herself out there that she can get a gig, MCing gig, or she can be called for anything else outside of radio, and she still has her traction on social media. She's shared so much of herself with us, so I feel like she really diversified herself. I'm not just on radio, but I'm going to, place myself in all these other opportunities that present themselves and take advantage of them. So I think I love that. And Noguti, I mean, she's leaving, but she's not insulting anyone. She's just stating facts. Noguti, this is what happened. Also, another thing was, I like that she went and she negotiated. Because a lot of us are scared to negotiate. We're like, vele ngiyashiya mina, vele abangibhadali, vele they don't care, whatever. She went back and she was like, okay, if there is another slot that will allow me to get paid more than I do, or somewhere else where I can grow, whatever, she was willing to go back and say, if there's more, can I have more so that I can get what I feel is sufficient?
So a takeaway from this, I think it's important to maybe read the contract, negotiate the contract. Say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, maybe I don't know what negotiations or so that we don't get the same thing as each artist after years of being with a record label. So I mean, all the best for to Penny, and I think more than anything, the experience was more important than the money from Gagasi. I mean, she might get a bigger gig now because
she even posted a video and she's saying sometimes like we dwell on the things that are taken away from us.
Exactly.
But sometimes maybe it's an opening for something greater. She's not saying I have that something greater, but she's just saying sometimes we sit and sink in things. Kanti God has better plans and bigger plans. Maybe Intobo we born that was out of your reach. You might have, maybe for her, she might have looked at, let's say, Metro FM, and it was, it's Metro FM, you know. But she might end up finding herself there, or having other greener pastures that she never thought she would reach.
Yeah, no, companies must pay people right. And also go back to your people and say, hey, the numbers are not looking good. The financials are not, you understand? Because people would understand.
Include them.
Yeah. Bring them in, talk to them. I mean, their family. The people are what makes the company, actually, in essence.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Transparency is important.
Exactly. So, my last question, Guwe, taking it down, because it's something that I always wanted for us to talk about. Women in corporate, or women, do you think women are getting paid enough? Because there's always that thing, ukuthi abantu besifazane, they're not getting paid enough, or ukufana nabantu besilisa.
Yeah. I really do think ukuthi the scale does tilt towards men. Yeah, and I feel like more than the money, more than being paid less than, which is something that is happening. But I also feel like, man, like there's so many things that we kind of go through that are natural, that we don't have we don't have control over, that contributes to how corporate treats us in a way, right? So for instance, there was a debate at some point to Guti, but women will take maternity leave over a corporate hiring a male. Because if I hire a male, I know he'll always be here, you know? But if I'm hiring a woman, she's gonna fall pregnant and she's gonna go on maternity leave. That's like 3 months of me paying somebody who's not at work. But it's not, it's natural. You understand? It's not something that I don't want to say something that we have control over, but we are gonna give birth. If I want a kid, I am gonna give birth, and I am entitled to my leave.
So you can't hold that against.
You can't hold that against me. Also, the fact that sometimes you get people that have like such severe period pains that they stay home during their menstrual cycles, and it's not something that I have control over. You can't hold that against me. So I feel like there's so many things, man, that are not, like, we are not accommodated in the corporate space, over and above the money, you know. So even if you look at a lot of corporates, like, it's only now that I came across a video where it was, I'm not sure if it was Standard Bank. No, it wasn't Standard. I'm not sure which company did the ad, right? But it was little girls saying, I don't want to be the first. I don't want to be the first. Like, I don't want to be the first female to do whatever. No, I want to be one of many, right? I don't want to be the first female CEO. Well, great. But I want to be, there must be so much of us that it's a norm. And it's not, oh, she did this. It's not an extraordinary thing. So it's a norm.
So there shouldn't be gatekeeping, because that's how they gatekeep. Tina Sjabulela ukuthi, I want to be the first to do this, Whereas there's some sort of a gatekeeping. Let's hold them back. When they need to celebrate, they must celebrate that one.
Yes. And it's so sad that we're still having firsts even now. Like,
it's unfortunate. And going back to what you were talking about, lento yabantu besifazane ukuthi they get discriminated against for going on maternity leave. Companies, I think it's more than the company policies. It's the people inside the company, because the companies are more open now with their policies. They accommodate women. They accommodate. They know you will fall pregnant. You will take maternity leave. So the company policies accommodate, but unfortunately there are people inside the company, like, let's say, for instance, your foreman, for instance, or your supervisor will be the one to frown upon a woman joining the team, because he has that mentality. she's gonna leave us, go on maternity leave,
Yeah.
fall pregnant.
But I feel like if companies made noise and normalized it,
Yeah.
then it would be something normal, right? It's like it wouldn't be. I mean, if companies encouraged it, and when you get employed, or when you go on training or whatever, they speak about it. It's something that's spoken about. I feel like less people or less people in management would frown upon it because it's something that we talk about all the time. It's something that's encouraged in the company, you know. So
Yeah. No, I get what
still
you're saying.
very
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah, hopefully izinto zizohamba zilunge mfethu, because we want to have women silingane man, even though kuyayiba naloko kudonsisana, but there must be fair treatment.
We need to get to a point where there's equality.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Also, because sometimes men think ukuthi when women get empowered, bona they baba munga amandla. It shouldn't be like that. It's the same as when you growing ukhulisa ingane, let's say umfana nentombazana. Be fair with opportunities, but if ubona ukuthi kuyaleka ngapha kumuntu wesifazana, give her more power, give her more encouragement,
responsibilities.
When it comes to,
Yes.
Anything, mama,
Right at the end.
yeah, no, simbambe lapha. Excuse mama, we got carried away. Do you have anything with regards to Penny? Anything?
My advice and my 2 cents opinion is Penny got in as Uguti, how much will they offer her? She accepted the offer.
Sure.
And yeah, it feels unfair, yes, but you got in there, you accepted the offer, and obviously just because of the growth and everything else, we don't really know the numbers as you have discussed.
Yeah.
But I feel like in terms of the agreement, it's very unfair. Maybe ukuthi mhlambe I expect ukuthi bamkhuphulele maybe ngabo ma 80% or 100% or kanjani. Yes, she does deserve more, but let's look at the criteria ukuthi makafika apply for the job, what was given, what was offered, because there's certain percentages or abakhuphula ngazo emsebenzini. So anyways, we wish her luck. Abe right, man. She has done good and well for herself. Uzoba sharp.
Uzo pull her through.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think simnandi.
Yeah.
So yeah, ufuna uyivala?
Nice discussion. Nice discussion.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah.
discussion.
No,
Give us
cool.
opportunities, guys.
Yeah, of
already,
course.
and in as much as you are saying, Oguti, a lot of males feel like they are. When women are empowered, but we need to acknowledge that the scale is tilted, and we need to get to a point where it's equal first before we can say women are being more empowered than men. Do you understand what I mean? Already, there's an imbalance. So once we get to equal, then we can say maybe more women are being more empowered than. You know, and I feel like more grace to understanding. We are starting the race from the back. You know, and even like I like going back to history, but historically, I mean, women were not allowed to work. You know, women are not allowed to work. Your job was to stay home and birth kids, raise kids, you know. So already we come from a negative. So we still need to catch up. So of course, men are way ahead of us. And I'm gonna say this because it's in my mind. I feel like it's also like it's the same. I feel like if men would maybe look at things, because I think when it's men, women, there's like a a power thing.
Competition type.
Let's look at it from a race perspective.
Yes, I wanted
you
to
know,
go there.
if you can comprehend how white people are far in this race, you know. Then you should be able to comprehend how men are far in this race, And then you look at black men are far in the race, right? Then imagine how far black women are.
Exactly.
You understand?
I wanted to go there actually.
So
Great
if
point,
I feel like if you can comprehend that, then you should be able to see the point. Yoguti, we really like as women, we really like very far behind, and for I feel like it's unfair for men to say when we are being empowered, they are being disempowered. No one is disempowering you. We
Yeah.
are just empowering women. Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, our government and the corruption is not helping in any way.
In any
so
way.
yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has been the LNR podcast. My name, you know,
Is SK?
SK,
AKA?
you know. So yeah, please, please subscribe,
Like and share,
Do the right thing,
guys.
man.
We absolutely love you.
Yeah. So ufufu namhlanje zangasijone. She had some medical issues that she needed to sort out.
Next week.
Next week. Hayibo,
We're
uyakhuluma
back.
emva kwendlu. Usezilo ukhuluma emva kwendlu. Awuthi ngikhuphule la, awuthi ngikhuphule. Igama.
Sisi okhuluma emva kwendlu
Yeah.
isigugulethu Gillian Modlong.
Gugu.
Danko.
Siyabonga. Yeah, it has been the LNR podcast. Danko.
Danko.